All right, here's a silly question. Would you like to be a millionaire? Of course, most people would say yes, unless they are already billionaires.
Yes, and our next guest says, first, you have to think like a millionaire, Bill. Think like a millionaire.
That's where I've been going wrong.
Steve Siebold has written the book, How Rich People Think. It opens the door to the thoughts, habits, and philosophies of people who have become rich. Please welcome Steve Siebold. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you. Thanks.
Great book.
Thank you. It's doing well.
We've been waiting for this advice for a long time.
Yes.
So where have we gone wrong, Steve? Or have we?
Well, I don't know if you have or not, but I think most people are probably thinking about money in terms of fear and scarcity, especially right now. And there's so much money to be made right now. It's amazing.
And it all comes down to how one thinks about money or about their life in general.
I think it starts about how you think about money, how you approach money. Do you approach money through the eyes of fear or through the eyes of opportunity, just to start with?
Some people are afraid of money then.
Definitely. I think most of us grow up learning that money is sort of evil. It's just something we have to have, and hopefully we'll survive. And it's sort of a negative thing. And the rich see it as a positive thing, something that can give them opportunities like nothing else.
Well, and the great thing about your book, it's very easy to understand because you're just really comparing middle-class thinking versus the rich people thinking.
Yeah, I'm a really simple person. I write simple books because I'm simple. I need to be easy to understand, you know.
Right. Well, one thing that you noticed was, you mentioned it was middle-class think formal education, whereas the rich, and I thought it was interesting, thinks specific knowledge. So what's the difference?
Well, specific knowledge that solves problems, especially right now. I mean, all the new problems, even here in Philadelphia, right? All the new problems that are going on worldwide, all these brand new opportunities, it's going to take specific knowledge, not general education, to solve these problems.
Okay.
And do rich people think that to make more money they need to work harder?
No, they need to think more. They need to think more about solutions that either partially solve problems or fully solve problems. The bigger the problem, the richer they get.
And did you sit down with a bunch of rich people and ask them, so all these questions, tell me what you're thinking?
Since 1984, I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of millionaires and billionaires throughout all over the world, and that's where I based the book on.
Are they mentioned in the book?
They're not. I've only mentioned a few people over the years because it's a very small group of people, and to stay in their circles, they're very private.
Was there an eye-opening moment for you when you were doing all those interviews?
Yeah, I realized that my thinking was the thinking that was keeping me broke. And it really was. And it happened about 1985, 86, and I realized if I don't change the way I think, I'm always going to live an average life. I need to think like these people think. And when I started to, my life started to change.
And what was that major thought change that you had?
To look at
that with us?
Yeah, no, it was really about thinking about money in terms of possibility and freedom and living life on your terms, because that's what I think the best thing about being rich, I think, is living on your own terms. You can do what you want, when you want, with whom you want, for as long as you want, and you don't have to answer to anyone unless you choose to. It's a good life.
So what's your best advice for somebody who's, let's say, out of a job, and they've been out of a job for months or years, because of the economy right now? What's your best advice for them? Like, how do you think rich when, you don't even know how you're going to pay your next bill? Right.
I would say approach getting a job like a rich person would. They wouldn't go apply for a job because there are no jobs. I mean, the jobs are so scarce. Go to a company, maybe a small, mid-sized company, and say, you know what? Let me work for you for 2 weeks. You don't have to pay me anything. If you think I'm worth a wage and you think it's worth taking a risk in this economy to hire me, hire me. If not, you owe me nothing. That's how a rich person would approach getting a job, and they would probably get it every time.
So where do you learn to think like a middle-income person or a rich person?
I think we grow up with it. Not to hit school teachers, but we grow up. People can only teach you what they know, and we're taught, especially in America, the richest country in the world, even, to think about money in terms of fear and scarcity, and it goes throughout our lives. Most of us never change, so most of us never accumulate any money.
So it's time to retrain your brain then.
Yeah, it's time to reprogram and learn it from the rich, because they're the only people that know how to do it.
Right.
So are you among the rich now, Steve?
I'm, as I said the other day in New York, I'm a minnow in the sea of millionaires. But I've interviewed whales, and I'd follow the whales.
All right, well, that's a good plan. Thank you so much for sharing some of the knowledge that you've gleaned while putting this book together.
Thank you.
How Rich People Think by Steve Siebold. Thank you, Steve, for being here again on The Ted Show. We'll be right back with more of The Ted Show.